7th Australian Open semi-final. He's got a losing record. He won 6, lost 7. Would you believe that? But
wow.
Any other stat we can go to is pretty much in his favour.
That's thanks to Novak Djokovic, mainly.
Yes. Federer looking for his 7th final. He's 5-1 in finals. And he's the oldest man at a semi-final in any slam since Jimmy Connors, 39 years of age at the 91 US Open. 5 times a champion here, of course. 5 times a champion here, of course. Chung, the first Korean man or woman in a semi-final of a slam. If he reaches the final, he'll be the first unseeded player at a slam since Songa here 10 years ago. What a story that was. What a story this is with Hyeon.
No, it's a huge story, and especially because he's 21 years old, but also because of where he comes from in South Korea. And it's a country where we don't have tennis. China has had, obviously, with Lina, Japan, with Kei Nishikori and others, but South Korea, it'd be great for global interest of tennis if he can break through here and get to a Grand Slam final.
Federer, remember, hasn't dropped a set on his way to the semi-final. Hyeon Chung dropped a couple against Sasha Zverev, but found a way to win. Federer won the toss of the coin. Chung in to serve first. He has played so well, Chung. He's got to play even better this evening. Has he got the weapons to hurt Federer if Federer is more or less on his game? Well played. It's got to be shot making like that, because movement alone isn't going to get the job done against Federer.
No, it isn't. Federer will find a way to get to him, whether it's hitting short angles, which he did there. So, but Chung has a very, very strong forehand, and he can hit winners with that. And it seems that hits the ball a little bit harder than Federer off of that wing early on.
Obviously, how he's mentally prepared for this is key to whether or not this is going to be a stormer of a match. Nothing from what we've seen from him so far would lead you to believe he's less than himself. But here, 2 break points straight away for Federer.
15-14.
And he's a little bit tentative, Chung, and you cannot afford to be that against Federer. Federer is just feeling him out here.
Yeah, good work on the backhand.
Has to be patience there, Chung, when he gets into one of those rallies. Federer's going to stay there, and maybe at some point he might have to follow one of those backhands up to the net if Federer keeps slicing it.
5 titles he's won here. Quite a surprise. Huge response, whether that's the natural support of the underdog, or there's a lot of Koreans here as well. Difficult to tell, but you don't often get that reply to a Federer mistake.
No, it's great to hear, actually.
The super return.
I think it's one part of his game that it's going to take a few years to figure out is how much of a weapon a serve is. And you don't have to win it outright, but to set it up and serve at the right place and going slow slice to Federer's forehand, it better be short and wide.
Yeah, Federer launching at him, and he's got what he wanted. He chose to receive, and just a little tentative start from Hyeon Chung, and Federer takes advantage.
He's thrown everything at him straight away. That forehand was hit really hard from Federer. He chipped a few backhands on second serve returns when he could have gone after it, but chose not to. So I would think Roger Federer has his opponent pretty much sussed out by now. Took him a game.
And that's what the predictor says. About 9-1. 9-1 odds. The odds of Federer. Federer would be feeling some nerves.
I would think early on he would be feeling some nerve before he really knows what kind of game plan he needs to apply.
30-15.
You made the distinction the other day in the Burdick match. He's not playing particularly well this year, but he's a better player than he was last year.
I believe so. I think that he's way more confident.
I think it's out. Federer challenging the goal. Left service line, the ball's called out.
I think he's just more aware of everything that he does well. He's more aware, oh, my serve really is stuck with me throughout all of 2017. Therefore, a challenge.
He doesn't smile, but even enjoyed that.
14-15.
One up against the officials, yes. That's a joy. It was interesting after the match in the interview that he did with Jim. He recognized the fact that he had got a little antsy with Fergus Murphy, and he said, I just want to forget that. A little embarrassed.
Right.
He kept saying to Fergus Murphy, are you comfortable with that decision? Oh, yes. That'll do.
Well, we know he's got a big forehand, that's for sure. And he has to set that up with daring to go for his backhand as well. Has to be the one that controls the rallies from the baseline.
Correction ball's good. Replay the point.
Yeah. Federer's just looked away. He's recognizing it was a good overall from Carlos Ramos.
Of course, the problem now is that Federer gets another first serve.
Yes. Another excellent point from Hyeon Chung. Missed it.
Advantage. Chung.
And here's a chance for Chung to hit back straight away. Do you feel he has to go for shots like that?
No, I don't feel it exactly right. I feel that when he has the chance, he doesn't have to go for the winner. He has to hit something aggressive. But that one, I believe, should go to the Federer backhand a little bit with some height and trying to get Federer to panic on the backhand a little bit. He could still be in control of that rally without going for a winner.
Oh, what an important intervention. Chung had position.
But just in this rally for me, Chung is really showing why he's going to be a force to reckon with, because it's a good-looking slice backhand. He took good net position. Unlucky that he didn't get a racket on that.
So he saves break point. He's not serving great. Only 2 first serves in.
Federer leads 2 games to love.
Out of 10. But he got it done. Too low.
Well, it's definitely different to serve indoors. Usually it's easier to serve when the roof is closed, but I have to also add the weight of the tennis ball. It gets a little bit heavier, and when you feel that on your racket. And of course you see the speedometer is not the same.
It is a peculiar service action, isn't it? Andy Roddick used to serve with his feet almost tied together. And Chung's the same.
Yeah, Roddick had an incredibly live arm, of course. And a little faster motion for Andy Roddick, so that's something he can improve on. It's a little bit more acceleration.
15 all.
It's interesting how both players are targeting each other's forehand more than the backhand, because it's clearly both players' strength, but they both keep going at it with the forehand cross-court duels.
I'll
say that's mind games from both players, especially from Federer.
Yes, no one takes on my forehand. Do you understand that?
$14-15.
Chung announces himself. A huge support. You can't underestimate the number of Koreans who are here.
This watch has seen moments that last a second and moments that last forever. It's marked the promise of a new season. Seen the game's brightest stars go head-to-head at Melbourne Park. Yet it's not until we look back that we understand that at those very moments we were standing on the edge of Australian Open history. It doesn't just tell time, it tells history.
The final from Melbourne is live tomorrow.
Past the camera, almost winked at it. He didn't, but you just get the feeling he's really enjoying it out there.
Oh, definitely. We've seen enough evidence of that for sure, but that's key. To come out here and enjoy this match is the most important thing, I think. You can still be serious.
15 left.
Yeah, Federer knows he's got to pick up his first serve percentage. Still in the 20s even after that. Oh, yeah. 36 years of age and he moves like that.
Just incredible. I mean, the first forehand we didn't see there with the inside out. He had to get away from the ball and then get to the ball. And then the freedom of that swing.
What a lovely action shot that is.
Fortuna. Again, Federer.
Huge serving. And once again, a two-game cushion.
3 games to 1.
You know, I remember watching Björn Borg, the great Swede, take out John McEnroe in Wimbledon, take out Jimmy Connors at Wimbledon. And when I played them for the first time, it wasn't that big a deal. I've seen Björn beat them all the time, so I figured out a way to, and I think for Chung, he's seen Federer play, but he's seen him lose a lot to Novak Djokovic and Rafa Nadal, because he didn't win a major from 2012 to last year.
Pity.
And that can make a big difference in terms of his own confidence. So he might have this idea, well, oh, Roger Federer, he's not that, he's obviously won a lot, but his backhand is a little bit weaker. He's seen him lose to Nadal and Djokovic because he wasn't consistent enough. He's 36 years old, so all that will help Chung in this match.
Yeah, Federer's stride forward undid Chung there.
Of course, that's something he doesn't see often. Chung is somebody coming forwards as much as Federer does.
That's a bad miscue, and here a couple of points for a double break and surely the set.
It's Federer teasing him just a little bit. I mean, should I come in after it? Should I hit it hard? And he did something sort of in between there, Chung.
Starting to fray a little bit. Looks unconcerned, that's good. But Federer off to a roaring start here. It is chucking it down. But inside, it's Roger Federer in his pond.
Please be seated, especially behind the players. Thank you. Please be seated. Fifteen miles.
Just thinking about those spectators, Simon, that arrive. I mean, if you have a ticket to go watch Roger Federer, do not be late. It's just like going to a movie theater. You don't want to miss the plot early on.
No.
This could be over in an hour and a half.
And you miss the best bits, don't you? The start, the nerves, the walk on court even, which is quite dramatic.
I agree. And also the beginning of the first set and part of the first set, because obviously the last set you win is the most important, but apart from that, the first set is so much more important than we talk about.
Yeah.
The statistics are overwhelmingly in the favor of the person that wins the first set. Yeah. Women, men, 2 out of 3, it doesn't matter.
Having said that, they're better here in Australia than they are in any of the other slams.
They are. Wimbledon, they'd be pretty good too, I would think.
Yeah, but still there are empty seats out there around the place. Roland Garros, they're shocking. US Open, not great at all. Here, much better.
Yeah.
Love 15.
He's played well in patches, Federer, hasn't he, this fortnight? Played outstandingly well in patches. This is one of those patches now. And always played well when he's been pressed, which is very little.
And I think that's why I believe he's a better player, because he has this, it seems like he has this ability to just turn it on when he needs to. Can be risky, but it also means that he saves a lot of energy in between those patches.
And that first set against Birgit was key, wasn't it?
13-15.
And when it really mattered, Federer turned it on. That was bold. They were convinced he was going to the backhand side. Federer so quick.
Absolutely, so smooth defending, Federer.
Set point after just 27 minutes. Important for Chung that he wins this game. He's not going to win the set, but just to get in the match.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think maybe better for him to have Federer start serving in the second set too, just so that he can take a breath.
Oh, hold on, can we see that one again?
Not Federer, so my mistake. Not Federer serving, it's about Federer serving another game that doesn't really count.
Yes, no, I got you. There's a collector's item. I can't believe what I've just seen. So easy. He knew Chung was going to make that move to cover the cross court.
Just a little bit too simple there from Chung, but at the same time, I'd ask the question.
No.
Advantage Federer.
And he backed himself. Just too cute in the angle. And here's set point number 2. Oh, just glided into it. His dad, Robert.
He's a happy man these days, Robert, because Roger is coming over his backhand so often. He used to be not happy about that.
All right.
Roger has said himself in many press conferences. Even my dad thought I sliced the backhand too often.
He's hitting winner after winner on that forehand now.
Yeah, this last forehand, it's just an absolute beautiful strike.
First ace for the Korean. They call this the Grand Slam of Asia Pacific, and it sure looks like that tonight, and sounds like it.
Main sponsor is Korean.
Yeah.
Advantage Federer.
Magnificent. Rod Laver and Mark Webber amongst those applauding. First set to Federer, 6-1.
This watch has seen moments that last a second and moments that last forever. It's marked the promise of a new season, seen the game's brightest stars go head-to-head at Melbourne Park. Yet it's not until we look back that we understand that at those very moments we were standing on the edge of Australian Open history. It doesn't just tell time, it tells history.
Stop it now.
Game, Federer. First game.
Yeah. The expression doesn't change, but he'll be very pleased with the way he's begun this, and I'm afraid Chung isn't at the races at the moment.
No, he's not, and that's a horrible beginning. Obviously, breaking serve is not what you hope for, but just being part of the service game with Federer that time. Now the pressure straight back on Chung. Of course, with Federer starting to serve, he could easily get down a break, and suddenly on the scoreboard it looks like there is no way of coming back. Has to stop the bleeding here, Chung.
Oh, that's beautiful. It's a big test of his character right now. That looked promising. Don't know if you know the British comedian Michael McIntyre. apparently, according to Wikipedia, he's the highest grossing comedian in the world. He's very famous in the UK. Hyeon Chung is a dead ringer for him. Michael hasn't got Chung's legs, though.
Well, hopefully Chung has a good sense of humor at this stage of the match.
Black for serve.
But he did enough. There is huge support for Chung here. I think a lot of Koreans may have made the flight at the last minute
And somehow found a ticket too.
Yeah. It was never like this against Tennis Sangre.
15 left.
Needs to make those, otherwise Federer's killing him with that serve out wide.
Yeah, he really is, and that's just Federer being slightly, how can I say it without slightly obnoxious, serving and volleying second serve to his opponent's strength.
Certainly stubborn, that's for sure. And he's a set and 2-1 to the good. A roar of approval.
5-30.
Was there a word there with Carlos Ramos, like he maybe wants the trainer? Not sure.
I would think so.
There was nothing contentious in what happened there.
An approach shot is what he needs to ask for.
Yeah.
He needs to make Federer play there.
Neville Goblin we talked to before the match, and he was saying how he embraced the situation, Chung, this fortnight of becoming a superstar. It's difficult to embrace what's happening right here.
$15-14.
He's giving him the point.
It's a winner, Roger. No, the call did not hinder you. The call was after you missed your shot.
Getting antsy again. So if it doesn't change his tennis. There's his response. I have to say, I thought Federer had a point there.
Yeah, I mean, this is absolutely ridiculous. This is so good from Federer. And this is a good approach. I mean, you can't hit the approach shot any better if you're going to hit a slice back, and it's deep. He gets good net position. He's inside the service line, and somehow Federer threads the needle. Wow.
And there's the celebration. Now, would you move a little further across if you were Chung?
Yes.
Well, right now he's playing as good a match as he has in the whole tournament.
It looks like he's completely stress-free, Federer, and it has a lot to do with I would think the lack of free points off of the Chung's first serve. He's not getting any, so there's no pressure at all for Federer anywhere.
$40.
204. You don't often see a Federer serve that quick. It's his fastest of the evening. Pick it up, Roger.
Just having a bit of fun. Excellent return.
Yeah, that court helped. And he needs all the help he can get.
He's definitely strong out here on the forehand.
Let's for serve.
You gotta laugh. It is so good. An immaculate performance. the next gen, it's not an officially a tournament. There's all sorts of weird and wonderful scoring in that, but it was a huge achievement. But the amount of tennis he's played in this fortnight is different to anything he's had before.
Yeah, and a big difference. And of course, in the temperatures that he had to play through as well in the first week. Pressure, 3 out of 5 sets. He's going to have to get good at this part of tennis, is to save some energy. Try and figure out how to save his body, save his feet.
One thing this does do, of course, is maybe slow the momentum down, because it was building to a crescendo. It's not just the Fed Express going on out here, it's a juggernaut. Anything you can do to slow it down. Not a pretty sight. Did you suffer from blisters a lot?
No, not really. No, but
is there a secret? Just be tough.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Well, it's difficult to be tough too when you get blisters and you're on these kind of courts, hard court. It burns your feet. These days they slide as well on it, so it burns them even more. One of the reasons why they had to go away from the old surface, the Rebound Ace, which was more of a rubberized surface, when it got really hot, it got really sticky, and literally you leave your foot in one place and then trying to move it and nearly stuck to the court. Oh. Yeah, not good. It's all a learning curve for Mr. Chung.
What do you think of the speed of the serve? It's interesting listening to Pat Cash talking with Catherine earlier on. He said he didn't think it was as quick as last year. Most people are saying it's sort of medium fast. He didn't think it was as quick as some of the outside courts and not as quick as last year. But sometimes players do have different interpretations on the speed of a court.
They do, definitely. Depends on who you're playing, depends on obviously the speed of their shot and the spin of their shot, and also depends on the temperature. The temperature makes a massive difference, and sometimes you get the odd strange mix-up because and they play differently. The Hisense Arena usually plays much slower because they lay that court just before the tournament starts, the main draw starts. And it's not a tennis court normally. Outside courts, they obviously play qualifying and they train on the outside courts and they try to match the show courts to those outside courts. And then Rod Laver Arena speeds up a lot during the tournament because it gets so much play. Of course, somehow Federer has figured out how to win on Rebound Ace, slower hard court, and this fast hard court here at the Australian Open.
Put him on a beach, he'd find out how to win that. Must have been a very difficult first 50 minutes. But he looks as if he's got the temperament to be a big time player, as well as the skills and fantastic agility.
I think all he can do, hopefully he can physically, but just keep
to close it out. That was mighty impressive. I don't quite know exactly what else who else he beat throughout the tournament, but you know, to bounce back from the Novak match and just somehow get it done today, this afternoon, that's tough, you know, and that shows that he's had good composure and great mindset. Also physically, he must have recovered. So I think it's an interesting match for me, and I'll definitely have to look into how I need to play against.
It doesn't really make a huge difference for the future of Kyle. He played such a great tournament, and I think there are things he can take away from that match. At least I can. He's got a big forehand, big serve. He didn't move well enough to have a chance, but maybe it was because of injury. I feel the same thing about this match so far. Even if this runs away completely, there's something, because of the demeanor of Chung, and also I have to say the demeanor of Carl Edmund, that there must be something they learned from it. Carl did not look that disappointed.
And of course, another thing Carl's taken away, he beat Chung in Brisbane. At the time we thought, yeah, that's okay. Now it looks a heck of a win.
All.
Yeah, it's got to make that first serve in and count.
13-15.
How's he going to break Federer?
Actually, I think Federer applauded that shot with his hand into the strings of his racket.
15 love. Let for serve.
Hardly any footwork necessary then.
Just such beautiful timing, and it's the backhand down the line that he has. He's improved his backhand, but in more detail, it really is the one down the line. Suddenly he looks maybe like he's hurting here, Chung.
Yes. It's his 17th unforced error. Yeah. Looked like he didn't want to turn there. The signs are not good, and Federer is now a game away from a 2-set lead in under an hour. So a lot of support for Hyeon Chung. It's almost sympathetic support at the moment. He's taking a hell of a beating. It's 2-5, second set.
Well, he's not going to let up here, Federer. He's going to test him out for sure. And he wants to get this set over and done with, and an upper break in the third.
15 on.
Before we might see some charity from Federer.
Chung isn't moving, and movement is so crucial a part of his makeup. He's not moving easily. Is he going to give it away?
Ladies and gentlemen, unfortunately, Mr. Chung is unable to continue
Oh,
to play.
No, that's horrible.
Federer is 6-1, 5-2.
That is a great shame. He obviously felt he couldn't give him his best. I'm surprised. If it is just blisters, I'm surprised he doesn't see it through to the end, but only he knows how much he was hurting. And the crowd of, well, they've got that rather hollow feeling, but they saw Federer at his best for an hour.
Yeah, I think he couldn't move at all. I mean, really, he didn't move at all in the end, and they must have just been breaking apart underneath. And even with blisters or a cut down his foot because of blisters, you could really damage him. It could take a long time to heal.
I wonder if they knew before the match started how dangerous it was, the blisters, that they might play a crucial role. They probably had a hint, maybe until he's playing in a match situation. You never really know.
No, you don't, because you go out and warm up and practice yesterday, if you even hit yesterday, but you warm up and you don't move side to side at all with the same intensity. But like you said, Simon, wow, he played well, Federer, for the first 45 minutes.
Well, Roger, I think I can speak for all of us when I say I think we're all stunned at how this match concluded. I just want to get your take on how the match was going for you prior to this abrupt ending.
Well, I thought the first set was, let's say, kind of normal. I couldn't tell what was going on with my opponent, but you know, I guess I was too focused on trying just to protect the lead, to be honest. In the second set, I started to feel he was getting a bit slower, you know, fighting with the blister. I know he's had a problem with the blister for some time, but just don't know how bad it is, really. And I've played with blisters in the past a lot, and it hurts a lot. And at one point, it's just too much, and you can't take it anymore. And when you realize there's no way you can come back and you make things really worse, it's better to stop. That's why this one feels bittersweet. Clearly, I'm incredibly happy to be in the finals, but not like this. And he's played such a wonderful tournament, so credit to him for trying so hard today again.
Yeah, you'd never played against Hyeon Chung before. He's had a remarkable start to his 2018, a tremendous tournament, a revelation to so many of us. Now that you've played him for a little bit, I'd love to get your take on what the future holds for him and what you think he might be able to accomplish in this sport.
Well, just alone his attitude. Fighting was a problem today. You couldn't tell till the very end. That's why probably a lot of people are stunned. And I mean, I could tell that something was wrong before he took the injury timeout. But he has a great composure. I think it's going to be. He is already a great player, but we're talking about next level excellence, and I think he's going to achieve that. We're going to see much more of him. Top 10 for sure. The rest we'll see. I don't want to put too much pressure on him, but he's done very well, and I can see why he beat the likes of Novak and Sasha and all the others, you know, this week and in the past. So I think he's going to be a great, great player.
We were wondering in commentary what the impact of playing indoors here tonight might be, how that changes things for you, your approach, or just the way that the ball moves in the air with the roof closed.
I thought it was very hot in the beginning. I don't know how about you guys, but...
Did you ask them to turn the air conditioning on?
Well, it's funny, I remember watching Venus play Belinda in the first day, and Belinda at one point in the second set, she asked the umpire, it's so hot in here, and I was laughing on the TV at home, because I was like, it's indoors, I'm sure the air conditioning's on, and but then I came out on court, it was so hot as well, and I was like, the air conditioning's not on, and it's more for the people than for me, to be honest, that they put the aircon on.
That's nice, so you're looking out for the crowd. Oh, good. I noticed you're not wearing your snazzy jacket tonight, so it must be hot in here. Yeah, okay. All right. So a year ago, Roger, you came into this tournament and you had 17 majors, which is more than any man has ever had. And now you come back here and you're one match away from getting to 20 if you can beat Marin Cilic in the final. What would you have said if I'd have told you that's where you would be 1 year from last year when you started this tournament?
Nice joke, Jim. Good jokester. No, seriously, no, I wouldn't be thinking this way. I know how hard it is to win on the clay. I know how hard it is to win any major for that matter. It just doesn't come around so easily. Plus I was fighting so hard for so many years and ran into Novaks and Rafas and other great players along the way that blocked it, you know, for me for a while. So I don't want to say I gave up hope, but I was going to be happy if I won one more major before I retired. Absolutely, I would have taken that. So here we are. I got in two more, maybe a third, but one match away. We'll see what happens.
I had the real good fortune of being invited to play in a charity tennis event at golfing legend Jack Nicklaus's house in December, and Jack was generous enough to let people like Andy Murray and Serena and Kevin Anderson that were there as well look at his office where he keeps all of his trophies, his 18 majors, all of his memorabilia. And I wonder, where do you keep all of your trophies and your memorabilia?
I have it at home. Not all of them. The finalists.
You need a bigger home?
No, that's not the problem. I'm happy with the size of my home, so it's all good. And I mean, one day I hope I can also, I mean, I have a nice trophy cabinet. It's beautiful, I love it. And sometimes I go through it and look at them and I'm like, wow. And then I'm like, who cares, because it's just tennis. But it's nice memories, and I don't like it to be reminded of tennis every room I go to. So it's basically just at one room, and yeah, and when friends come over, we kind of sometimes go through it just because it's too cool to look at Olympic gold medals or a Wimbledon trophy or an Australian Open trophy or the world #1 trophy. It's something I've worked so hard for, so I'm very proud of it, of course.
So tomorrow night, in the women's final, there are two fantastic players, the #1 and 2 seeds, Simona Halep and Caroline Wozniacki. One of them is going to get their very first major trophy. Well, I think we're being called to the principal's office, Roger. Is this microphone still on? There we go. Okay. So one of these two amazing players is going to lift the women's trophy here, and I'd love to get a preview of that. What are your thoughts on their road? I'm sure you've watched a lot of women's tennis along the way these 2 weeks, so what do you think about that match tomorrow night?
I would love to be in that position again, to be able to win my first major for the very first time. It's one of the cool moments in sports or in as a tennis player. So and I think both saved match points so far. So sometimes like a cat, you have multiple lives, you know, and that's where you got to just keep trying, keep believing, and then sometimes you get lucky along the way. You need a bit of luck, but they've worked so hard, both of them. They've both been to world #1, I believe. The winner's going to stay at world or become world #1, which I think is a great scenario. First time winning any major, Australian Open. I'll be watching, and I'm very excited for both of them. They're very nice girls and nice ladies, and I'm just excited for both of them, because I remember how it was me winning my first major at Wimbledon back in 2003 against Mark Philippoussis actually, and oh my God, it rocked my world, but it was the best moment in my life maybe.
Nice words for sure. We'll look forward to that match tomorrow night as well. And then we'll look ahead now to Sunday night. You'll be playing a rematch of the Wimbledon final against Marin Cilic. He's also beaten you at the U.S. Open in a major, so you know the dangers that he possesses. What do you need to do well in that match to get by? What does he bring to the table that can worry you?
We saw it against Rafa. We saw it again last night against Edmund. I got a blackout here. But no, he brings the power. He brings basically everything, you know. And he's a really nice guy. And he had the similar problem that Chung had in the Wimbledon finals. Fighting was a blister himself. So having 2 days off and not a brutal semis, I think that's going to help him a lot. And we'll see a fresh and ready Marin this time around. You know, on this kind of a court, you got to play aggressive, himself and myself, but he can bring the power, and I'm sure he believes if he's come this far, that means he's feeling good, and he crushed me in that US Open final, so thanks for the memories, but the semis or finals or quarters, it didn't matter, he did beat me badly, but you know, I'm excited to play against him. He's a great guy. We won the Labour Cup together and had a blast. We actually saw each other on vacation and went to play together on vacation, believe it or not.
Where was that?
In the Maldives a couple of months ago, and
I didn't get my invitation. It's okay.
It was just the two of us, and we were both looking for a hitting partner, and it happened that we were there. It was the weirdest thing. So that's I told him the practice in the tropicals helped us get to the finals this time around. So no, it's very cool, and I can't wait.
We can't wait either. Roger Federer going for number 20 on Sunday night. There he is. Take a good look.
And isn't it weird how in the latter end of tournaments players get blisters when they're playing Roger Federer? It happened to Cilic at Wimbledon last year, and here it happens to Chung. And I said it was a terrific atmosphere at the start. So many Koreans here, and they must be bitterly disappointed at how it's ended up. Federer goes off. A kind of empty feeling now, Rob, but I'm sure it's not in the studio. Over to you.